I was telling you earlier, we were covering the contraband showcase from musicians from the Muslim banned countries.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've heard of, some musicians have been denied visas to enter here.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about that happening?
Well, the ban on the countries, like just that thing, we strongly disagree with that.
Yeah.
We don't believe that will help anybody. With the visas that got banned, we don't know that like the cases are of everybody. Like Soviet, we did read that they went like through a big harassment thing in the airport with CBP. So well, it's something shocking. Like for us, like entering here, we had no problems, and we always spoke like all the interviews we had before coming to Austin. In each one, they asked us how what do you think the Trump era, like going to Austin. Are you worried? We'll have problems at the airport. And it was so crazy because, like I said, we are used to coming to this town a lot, and we like it a lot, and we've always feel like welcome here, like a very welcoming city in the most earnest sense of the word. Like in this trip we have only experienced love and good people and good vibes, but it's true that it's in the air, and when it's in the air, I believe that it might be a problem because if it's in everybody's mind, it's because it's the pink elephant in the room,
Right.
Speaking now, we come from a country like where political awareness, well, we had to learn that rolling with the punches, of seeing our country being taken away from us in many ways, and not by because it's not about politics in the end. I don't believe it's about rhetorics, Republican, Democratic, it's the same thing in the end, in many ways, but it's more about like seeing what you want, what you believe in reflected in your country, in your streets, in not feeling like your country does not reflect your values. That is a very strong thing because you feel like an outcast in your home, and that is not okay, and from what we have lived in Venezuela, I can tell you like it's very important to be at least participative, because in the end, what will happen if you not do it is like all other people will choose for you, and they will choose things that will surely not reflect your values, man.
If there's some kids in Venezuela that are 15 or 16 years old now and they want to start a band like yours, like is that possible? Would they be able to do it the same way?
We know some little guys that are making awesome music, like the best music there right now, but there's not infrastructure to play it for the people. Like it's really dangerous to go play at night.
Now there's
anywhere.
less infrastructure.
Right. Yeah, and there are not like these venues. There are not. There's like one venue in Caracas, that's the capital of the country, and in the other cities there's or there are not, or if there are, it's like one bar and it's like all mixed up there. Like it's really crazy, and for us to keep doing that, what we do there, it was being really difficult, and we didn't have like we wouldn't survive if we
knew
stayed there.
Despite of the situation,
Right.
we knew we had to go away from our families, and
Yeah, and we had to do it almost
in other cities.
at scratch from zero in Mexico.
If guitar rock is dying here, like imagine like in a Caribbean sense, reggaeton's so big, man. Like just think of they really are like massive genres. Like they attract a lot of people. They do it like big festivals, big fairs. So when the fact that we got to have a little recognition, like popular recognition in Venezuela, is something kind of awesome, because in the end we know we're not part of of the popular genres in that sense, and it's weird because the fact that we even like being like this kind of vegetable in a meat market.
It's a great comparison.
Yeah.
Especially to reggaeton.
Yeah.
Market.
Like we had to take a decision.
That's a main stake.
We had to take a decision quickly. So we moved quickly in 2014. I believe that it was a good decision because since then things have only like escalated down, man. And we did, and by then, like Daniel said, we thought it was already like bad enough infrastructure-wise, like
It was already bad.
Yeah,
3 years
it was
later,
very painful to leave, our families, our friends, but we knew.
Studios, like recording studios. Like for me, the part that hit like the hardest, like it was the studios that closed. The studio where we made the Nuestra and Será, where I learned to record, they dismantled it. What really got me thinking when they closed was like, where the fuck are, because I remember that getting to record properly in Caracas, like rock and roll, it took us some time, We didn't did it right away because it's not like the States, like you have a lot of instruments and stuff that are done here, it's gonna take a while for another person to amass the amount of money to, build something good enough for a rock and roll band to do something as good as they do it like in other countries where they have a lot of more stuff,
I would think that, maybe an artist would just follow like what you guys did, and move because they're going to move to,
they're
Mexico
starting to
City
move
or
a lot.
somewhere
They're starting to
because-
move,
Yeah.
And right now there are like 5 bands from Venezuela, from Caracas, living in Mexico City.
Really?
Yeah.
That must be kind of cool to have. Like,
Yeah,
that
It's
Right.
kind of cool, yeah.
We do a lot of jam sessions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
what we've taken too is since we're friends from a long time and we play music.
On the weekends.
Yeah, we
everybody
sometimes do
gathers.
jams. Like we take a house and we just play party music. You
Yeah.
know.
Do you think your time spent in Mexico is possibly changing the music a little bit or bringing in little Mexican influences?
Well,
from
yeah, of
rock
course.
bands?
We love to think. Yeah.
Like if our sound is changing through that, I would like to think so because in the end, it's something like symbiotic.
Yeah.
The city gives you something, you give something to the city,
Yeah.
and in the end you make something together and it transforms with time. But it will only time will tell. How does Mexico City
Yeah, but-
informed our sound?
But Mexico it has, se nos ha dado tanto. It has been very grateful to us. Our first office, studio,
Yeah.
this culture, infinite culture. Actually, our photo shoots for the new album, it's all Mexico.
Our sound engineer has this jacket that says "Mexico's the shit."
Our crew is Mexican. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, our crew is Mexican too.
Inside the jacket it has this statement where it's just the thing about Mexico is that you don't have to be Mexican, to be embraced by it.
Right.
And that it's true when we have felt that, it's something that is just from their culture, And if you come to think of it, it's a culture that's taken so much people, for example, Roberto Bolaño,
Right.
Trotsky, a lot. Even Joe Strummer lived in Mexico City.
Really?
Yeah, for 2 years. His father was a diplomat. He lived all over the place. Kerouac lived in Mexico. William Burroughs has to escape here to Mexico when the William Tell accident, So a lot of people have been received by it, and I believe that's in the air. It's like a hug, It's just you're safe. Like when we arrived to Mexico, I have to say that we didn't feel and we haven't felt that never the.
Yeah, it's a big city. It's overwhelming, but the hug is still there.
There's this phrase by Marjan Satrapi that says that the distance between you and I is smaller than the distance between you and your government. The same way the distance between me and my government, And in the end, that is that is the way I believe that the world changes. If we get to know it, different cultures, meeting each other, just hanging out in many ways. I believe that progress comes from that. Very simple, very organic.
So tell me a little bit about La Lucha.
I would say that it's our coming of age trilogy, if something, and a coming of sound, I will also call it, because it took us 3 records to, I believe, to get to a sound we can call our own.
Right.
So in many ways, we feel, right now that's our opinion, and maybe it will change with years, but now I believe it's, or at least it's my favorite record. Or at least the one that makes me feel more
Mine too.
happy, proud
Totally.
of what we did, because in the end I can hear
Right.
that it translates what was happening in our hearts,
It's really nice getting to know you and seeing where you're going, and I wish you guys all the best and continued success.
Thank
What
you
do,
very
much.
And hope maybe someday in the future maybe you come back to Caracas and open a recording studio.
Yeah. We will do stuff there.
Yeah,
We will not stop doing stuff in our country.
Yeah.
We'll keep sending our bombs.
That's very Joe Strummer.
But the thing is, the time will come, and I hope you get to see it with us too.
Absolutely. I would love that. Thank you guys.
No, thank
Cheers.
you.